Welcome to the Robotics and Automation News Review. It's Friday, 12th of February, 2021. My name is Abdul Montakim, and I'm an editor at roboticsandautomationnews.com. Hope you're all well and staying safe in this awful time of the coronavirus pandemic. For new visitors or readers, roboticsandautomationnews.com mainly covers the industrial sector, manufacturing and logistics. So it's machines such as industrial robotic arms, mobile warehouse equipment, such as autonomous mobile robots, or AMRs as they're called, and some other similar equipment, AGVs, autonomous guided vehicles, and so on. But we also cover areas such as computing, energy infrastructure, and factories, new factories and refurbishments and so on. I was hoping this review would happen every day, but it turns out that it's more difficult than I realized. So I'm going to try and do it every week or as often as I possibly can. Anyway, today, normally in the review, I highlight some of the stories from these lists on our website, the latest articles list and the most read list, although the most read list doesn't really change very much most days because there are some articles which seems to be permanently on there, electric vehicle charging stations and vertical farming and so on. But anyway, there's quite a few stories actually today that I wanted to talk about. The first one is this one. The headline is Otto Motors integrates its warehouse robots with Boston Dynamics robot dog. Now, this is obviously a very famous robot, the Boston Dynamics robot dog, which is called Spot. Everything that Boston Dynamics does seems to have a really high level of accomplishment, or whatever you want to call it. Technically, they're just such good machines. The movements are so realistic, and the Spot dog is no exception to that. So Otto Motors produces things that, they produce an AMR, which is, you can see in the background here, it's an autonomous mobile robot, which is basically a little box-like platform with wheels that move around a warehouse. Usually they have stacks of shelves on top, which they move around, and human pickers take items off them to create an order. So what Otto Motors have done, Otto Motors is part of ClearPath Robotics, and what they've done is they've integrated the two machines, the Spot the dog and the AMR, which I don't know if it has a name. It probably does, but anyway, it's an AMR. And what they've done is they've used the robot operating system, which is a library of code, I suppose. I'll try and find it while I'm talking. So robot operating system is a number of libraries that roboticists can use to add functionality to their robots. It's an open source operating system, which is increasing in popularity. So yeah, that's a very interesting development, which we'll probably see more of, because the warehouse market is market for robots in warehouses is growing so fast, and it's already quite huge. So there'll be loads of new applications that people will think of and develop, and this is a very interesting one. These dogs, actually, there's a similar one that I'll talk about in a minute. They have very interesting sort of approaches. People have different approaches to applying them. So one company tried to use another one. I don't know if it was Spot this one, but they demonstrated it as a delivery robot that can deliver to people's houses and homes and locations and so on. delivery robots tend to be wheeled robots. We'll talk about them some other time, but certainly they're good for many different types of terrain. Wheels obviously need smooth-ish sort of surfaces. These four-legged robots don't need smooth surfaces. They can navigate pretty much any terrain. So yeah, that's why they might actually be a good delivery robot. But anyway, that's one of the stories that I wanted to highlight. The next one is Staubli. Staubli has expanded its robotic solutions for life sciences markets. So life sciences, obviously, medical innovation and development and so on, drug development and so on. So obviously now with the coronavirus crisis, there's been more of a demand for such automation equipment. So yeah, it's an interesting story. Staubli is quite well. It's globally well known, but in Switzerland, I think it's particularly popular. The medical technology sector there is quite large. They have an annual show, which is really interesting. I visited once. So and Staubli have a very large presence in that market. So yeah, the fact that they're expanding in that market is not a real surprise. And obviously, these are the kind of things that they might get involved in, bioprinting and so on. Very interesting story. Next, we have a story about Baidu. Baidu is, or Baidu, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but Baidu have launched what they say is the world's first multimodal autonomous driving mobility as a service platform. Mobility as a service platform, mobility as a service is increasingly used as a MAAS to mean, well, the idea is that you can use an app to book a trip, a journey from one location to another. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And in between, what the kind of modes of transport that you use can differ depending on what the app sort of organizes for you. So, for example, from your house, it could take you by autonomous car, perhaps, to the local train station. The train can take you to the next or whatever train stop you want to get to, and then at the other end, it might actually put you on a bus to end your journey, or maybe another autonomous car at the end. So it's a multimodal sort of autonomous mobility as a service platform that they've launched. And obviously integral to that platform or the service is their own autonomous car, which they've developed. Baidu is, as I'm sure at least some people know, is the equivalent of Google in China. A very large company, and yeah, they seem to have followed a similar sort of trajectory to Google in the sense that Google started developing driverless cars some years ago, and in recent years, Baidu has done the same. So yeah, it's a very interesting development. Interesting also because China has numerous autonomous car developers, and we recently covered another one which has launched. I think Otto it's called. It launched a service, an autonomous taxi service in Shenzhen, and it's probably, well, they say it's the first of its kind there, and I'm not sure if such a service has been launched in Europe or in America or the North America, and that's because Europe and North America tend to have more strict regulations, perhaps. At the moment, autonomous taxi services are being tested. That's on public roads. I mean, there are autonomous shuttle services on private roads or private estates or industrial parks or airports where it's a closed environment. It doesn't need to go on public roads. But anyway, China is, yeah, it's obviously a large country and the world's biggest car market, actually. So yeah, they seem to be forging ahead with autonomous taxi services there. All right, so the next story is, as I said, there's another four-legged robot. This one, I wish we had a video of it because it would make a really nice video. It's the headline is explosion-proof animal. I don't know how to say that. Animal. It's a canine robot or a four-legged robot. It moves kind of like a dog. It's being used as an inspection device on Petronas's offshore platform, Petronas being a very large oil and gas company, Malaysian oil and gas company. So as you can see in the picture, the animal there is on the rig or oil rig or platform, and it's doing various inspections. And here we have a couple of pictures and a graphic to show perhaps its movements and so on. So yeah, it's a very interesting. Oh yeah, we do have a video. Okay, well there you go. We have a video. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it shows the actual. Oh yeah, there we go. A little bit of. Let's see, there you go. There we go. There you go. That's the animal robots moving around the platform with some equipment. Yeah, it's very interesting. These are very early days for these technologies, so this could be part. Well, it is actually part of a test. If they're testing it, they probably, well, obviously think they might actually be something that they could commercially make a commercial partnership out of. So yeah, the market is there for such devices. So it's very interesting. Interesting. This was, as I said earlier, this was one of the machines I think that was used as a delivery robot by another company or in another test, I think. But yeah, they're finding their way in the industrial world, these devices. Next, we have a story about Seegrid. They've launched a I think it's a forklift tractor. I mean, they've called it autonomous mobile robot, but it looks like a forklift type of thing. Autonomous mobile robots, AMR, jargon is always difficult to agree on in the early days of an industry, but AMRs tend to be the ones that look like little boxes and they move around, as I said, with their shelf units on their back. These look like tuggers or forklift trucks, but they are obviously autonomous and they are mobile and they are robots, so that's fair enough. But yeah, it's an interesting story. Seagrid is one of the better known warehouse robot manufacturers or equipment suppliers. So yeah, it's a good story. So the next one, this is a bit of left field, I suppose. I'll leave that till last. The next one, I thought I'd talk about Effidence. Effidence again is a warehouse robot developer. They've added new functionality to their robot, which you can see in the picture there, the wheeled thing, shelf unit on top. Now, Effidence is particularly interesting because it's the company that DHL, the world's largest robotic logistics company, partnered with, and Effidence built them a mobile robot which would move with a a human being who delivers the post. And instead of the human being pushing around a trolley or whatever they call them with the parcels and letters in, it would be the robot that moves with them autonomously every few yards. So yeah, that's Effidence is a very interesting company, been around a long time. And yeah, that produced even produced a little video showing what their new robot does. Or it's the same robot, but it's got new functionalities. Yeah, so that's another one. And yeah, finally, I thought I'd highlight this. It's an ox. It's a robotic ox. We haven't really seen any videos of this, so we don't know if it's an actual robotic ox or whether it's just a sort of, kind of like a sculpture, a metal sculpture that doesn't have any autonomous movement. We believe it's a robot because this company, UBTech Robotics, is called Robotics, UBTech Robotics, and they have produced quite a lot of different types of robots. One of them is called Walker, and you can see it on the screen here. It's a humanoid, a bit like the Honda classic Asimo humanoid. But yeah, UBTech has been very active in the space. They produce mainly humanoids, actually toy-like small humanoids, which seem to sell very well. But yeah, this ox was produced, or at least showcased, on what is believed to be the world's most watched TV show. It's the New Year Gala, New Year's program in China, commonly known as Spring Festival Gala. But yeah, it's the year of the ox, and it's I think it's today or around this time. So yeah, the year of the ox. So UBTech produced a ox robot, and very nice it looks too. Okay, I think that will be all for today. We've got some really good interviews on our YouTube channel, so please do have a look and subscribe to our channel, watch some of the videos and like them if you do like them. And obviously, if you don't, give it a thumbs down, why not? But yeah, we've got an interview with I Am Robotics, which is a warehouse robot company, Fetch Robotics, which is a very well-known warehouse robotics company. And we've got an interview, a very long interview, unfortunately, because I tend to ask too many questions and go on too long, with an interview with a company called Wiferion, which produces, as you can probably see here, kind of a charging device, a wireless charging device, which you can embed onto the floor, and machines that move over it or stand above it get charged wirelessly. It's a very interesting piece of technology. But yeah, that's our YouTube channel. We try and upload as many videos as we can that are relevant and interesting. So yeah, please do subscribe and visit our website, roboticsandautomationnews.com, and our social media pages. We've got social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So thanks again for joining me. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.